Rebarchick. I'm the owner, chef at Lenny's restaurant, California, Maryland. Glad to be here with you today. We're going to talk oysters. Let's get started on that oyster stew. Fresh butter here. I've got oysters. The only thing that we're going to need is to saute these. Okay. I like a little onion. Not everybody likes onion in their oyster stew, but I do. So I'm going to put my onion in with my butter so that they will start to saute just slightly. And as they saute, they become a little bit translucent. Okay. The other thing is oysters. Depends on how many oysters you like in your oyster stew. I like probably about 8 of them. You put the oysters in once the butter and the onions start cooking a little. Okay. And what you're going to do is cook the onions and the oysters together until the oyster starts to curl on the edges just slightly. Okay? And that's going to happen here in a matter of seconds. You can keep an eye on that for me. The other thing we want to do is we want to add a little bit of salt and pepper to it, because everybody likes salt and pepper in their soups. Okay, this is just about where it needs to be right now. You can see the curling of the edges on the oyster. Okay, and now we're going to cut the heat down. One thing you never want to do is you don't want to boil your milk. For what you think will fit in the bowl you're using at home. I find about a cup and a half, cup and 3/4 is plenty. Okay. Now some people like to add a little bit of cream to it to make it a little richer. Not the traditional manner in which you make oyster stew, but it is a lot with today's society. People like richer food products. Okay. So once this comes up to a simmer, as my daddy used to tell me when I was a young man, don't boil the oyster stew twice. If you do, the milk will break. And when the milk breaks, the milk is just starting to bubble a little bit. That is now ready. Turn it off. If you do boil it one time, you're not going to hurt it. Turn it off. Don't boil it again. Okay? So, that looks like our oyster stew is about ready. We're going to get a bowl to put that in. Now, you're going to find that if you slide the oysters out first, you won't splash as much when you pour the milk in. Look at those oysters. They're not overcooked. The onions just slightly sauteed. Okay? And as I said, we kind of guessed on how much milk to go in there. Were we not perfect? I love when that happens.